This time we present an interview with Mark Racop, founder of Fiberglass Freaks in Logansport, Indiana, the world's only licensed creators of accurate 1966 Batmobiles. He has also created the Fiberglass Freaks Batman Museum, a repository of Bat pop culture, with lovingly recreated sets from the show and displays that are constantly changing, with still many plans for future upgrades. This is a free episode with ads. However, to avoid the ads and get an additional 7 minutes of the interview, go to patreon.com/deconcomics, where you can hear this and every BatBits episode for the low price of $2 a month. The additional interview portion that's only in the Patreon version includes discussion of the museum's recreation of the Batcave's atomic pile, the effect of Batman 66 on the comics industry, and the Burroughs 205, the flashing lights computer seen in the Batcave and in many other TV shows and movies. It was a real computer. It looks cool, but what did it actually do? Join us at patreon.com/deconcomics to hear the full interview.
He's got cool and savoir faire in his cape and cowl and his gray underwear. Who is the hero that we like best? Gotta be the Batman, gotta be Adam West.
Welcome to BatBits. This is Tim in Tokyo with my brother Paul in Hanover, New Hampshire.
How's it going, eh?
And also on the line with us today is Mark Racop, who you probably know the name. You may have actually met him, but he's the guy who makes the Batmobiles in Logansport, Indiana. Hi, Mark.
Hey, how's it going?
Only good. Licensed maker, builder of Batmobiles in more than just the tri-state area, in the entire country, right?
Entire world. Who would have ever thought?
Yeah.
A lot of pinch myself moments, that's for sure.
11 years ago, you were on our free podcast, To the Batpulls. But in case people missed episode 16 or haven't listened to it in 11 years, just kind of explain the Fiberglass Freaks thing. What is that?
So Fiberglass Freaks is a company that is entirely about building 1966 Batmobiles. We started 23 years ago. Who would have ever thought that we'd still be doing it all of this time later? And we are the only licensed company in the world by DC Comics and Warner Brothers. They sent a spy to my shop pretending to be a customer. He liked what he saw, reported back to his bosses that if they were going to license anybody, that we were the company. I found this out 2 years later, by the way. Had no clue. And,
they were intending to shut you down, right?
Well, originally it was a cease and desist, to be fair, but because of that initial observation made by that spy, they decided to go ahead and license me instead. So, I was nice about it and polite about it and firm in responding to them to say, hey, it looks like that the problem is that I'm not licensed. It doesn't say anything about me building Batmobiles. It has everything to do with the licensing. What does it take to become licensed? Mm-hmm. So that started the conversation.
And these Batmobiles are street legal, right? People can ride them around on regular roads?
Right. They're titled as 55 Lincolns by the Indiana state, and it comes with the title. And as a modified 55 Lincoln, it makes it a lot easier for people to get them registered. So, yes, so far we've had great luck in getting them registered.
Yeah, if you registered it as the Batmobile, like, who's the maker? Like,
yeah, what's the make and model of this?
Batmobile. Wayne Industries.
Wayne Enterprises, right, exactly.
Yeah, 55
so
Ford
how many do you actually build, custom per year?
We average about 2 per year.
Okay.
So we've completed 32 of them, and this is what we do for a living. And, it's been pretty wild, that's for sure.
So I heard that Joe Burrow had to take a pass for the time being, right? That he had thought about buying a Batmobile and couldn't for some reason.
Well, he was all set to buy not one of our cars, not one of the 66 Batmobiles, but a Tumbler. And Warner Brothers made 10 Tumblers available for purchase at $2.9 million apiece.
What's a Tumbler?
That's
from
that's
the Dark Knight, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
The Dark Knight Batmobile. Okay.
Christopher Nolan's version, and he was all set to purchase one, and then somebody broke into his house.
Oh, that's
and
right.
he said that it was only because of the publicity surrounding the purchase of that Batmobile, so he backed off from it.
Okay.
Oh, dear.
So that's somebody else is making the tumblers.
Right. Those are official Warner Brothers vehicles. Now, I'm not sure who built them, but they are probably used for promotional purposes around the world. Would be my guess.
I see. Okay, because the news coverage, of course, didn't get into the things that Batman 66 fans would know about it. Just saying Batmobile and not specifying which Batmobile, like, and who made it, and all that. So. Okay, so I was making an assumption there, but but yeah, so making two Batmobiles, that's in a year, that's a full-time job. It must take a long time to make one.
It does. It's about 3,000 hours of labor that goes into the building of each one. And there are several bottlenecks that happen, but we do try to the best of our ability to do as much of an assembly line as we can. So that way the water is raising all of the boats, so to speak, at the same time. So when we're working on, say, door handles, we'll go ahead and mount all of the door handles. Triple rocket tubes, we'll do all of those, for instance, that kind of thing. And it really helps speed things along to do it that way, because that way it's fresh in the mind about the techniques that are needed and used, the engineering involved and all of that.
How large is your crew? When I think about, Fortis manufacture and, serial manufacture, like what you're talking about, you think of a giant factory with hundreds of people, each responsible for one segment of the final product.
Oh, I wish that it was that large of a group. At our height, we had 22 pre-COVID, but after COVID, so many people retired on me that they didn't want to come back, and I don't blame them one bit. And it's been really tough to find anybody to replace them. So instead of 22, we're down to 4 on a daily basis, and then up to 15 depending on what we're working on at that particular time. So we have 3 fiberglassers that are seasonal, for instance. And then we have a body man that's part-time that comes in on weekends only, that kind of thing. So it helps us out quite a bit, though, to have that extra help, that's for sure.
Oh, I'm watching these other people's videos of your museum. There was mention that the Batmobile windshield was made out of some material that I'd never heard of before. Sand something?
Okay, so my original Batmobile, Bat 1, was my first car, the one I built when I was 17 years old. And I made it out of a material called Lexan. So in a thicker condition, it's 1/8 of an inch on Bat 1, and it would if it was half an inch thick, it would be bulletproof. So it's this material you find there, but it's really strong and it can be flexed into position. The bad news is that eventually it will crack, and that is part of the nature of it. Now what we're doing in our professional Batmobiles is a droop molded aircraft quality acrylic, and that way it's optically clear, plus it's already shaped that way, so it doesn't have to be bent into position. And it's much better for the customers.
So you mentioned making your first Batmobile at 17 with some friends for a film you were going to make. Now, are any of those same people involved in Fiberglass Freaks?
They have been, but they also have retired. There are only 2 of us old dogs that are left. Everybody else is the young punks.
I see. Yeah. Yes. So, Paul, did you have any other questions about the cars before we move on to the museum?
Not about the cars, at least not at the moment, but I'm sure something will come up since we saw several of the vehicles in the video we watched. But go ahead, Tim.
Yeah. So a few years back, you started this Batman museum there in Logansport. I gathered it was like about 3 blocks from the Batmobile factory. What inspired you to start a museum?
Well, my collection was growing to the point where there were boxes in the corner of my office. It was exploding out into the outer office. It was overflowing the shelves out there. And it was just getting to the point where people would walk in to do tours, and I would take them into my office, and they would look around and go, there's barely enough room for like 4 people to stand in here. You need to open a museum. And then when I became licensed by DC Comics, I was talking with my banker, and she said, do you have a showroom? And I said, no. And she says, well, you need one. So I put both concepts into both back pockets. Then I waited for a while because I was trying to decide, do I really want to pull the trigger on this or not? Then the Hollywood Museum had their greatest exhibit ever, the Batman exhibit, the 66 Batman exhibit, but theirs was temporary. They extended it 3 times. So it was so successful. And that gave me the final push to say, yes, I need to go ahead and move forward on this. And so in 2019, I bought the building, and it took about 5 years of construction work to be able to get everything up to snuff of what we needed to do. Then we opened October 31st of 2024.
Okay, so it hasn't been open for very long. How's business? Do you get a lot of how many visitors do you get in a week?
Um, let's see. We had 4,300 people come through in our first year. So 44 states, 14 countries. I haven't done the math on dividing it by 52 to find out on a weekly basis what an average would be. But we are a little bit seasonal. That it is really from about the point of spring breaks, plural, from about March through about October, and then the rest of the winter season we don't have a whole lot of people. So if somebody's looking for a time when we don't have a lot of people, come on in during that time period, and you're going to get even more special attention. So.
Yeah, Paul attended that Hollywood Museum exhibit. Obviously, it's a little far away for me.
Right.
But
I sent him a few videos of just, walking around and, checking out the Corgi Batmobile and all of the other goodies they had. I was really impressed by the number of, you have a few in your museum, you have a few like on camera
Right.
issuances. But a lot of it is, is replicas that I presume was, taken from photos or taken from molds of original, on screen accoutrements. Can you tell us anything about that?
So the Hollywood Museum did have a lot of screen used items, which is just absolutely spectacular that they were able to borrow those, and that was what that situation was.
And you did you see the show?
I did not. I didn't get a chance to get out there during that time period. I was just too busy to make it. But yeah, we have 2 screen used items, but we've got a lot of autographed items, and we have many, as you mentioned, that were molded right off as screen used props. I'm in the market. I'm looking for screen used items, but the price tags have just shot up so dramatically during the last 10 years. They're just out of sight. The last pair of Batman and Robin costumes that were part of the Stuart Berkowitz collection sold for $575,000 bid, and then you add a 25% buyer's premium on top of that. It's just into some bananas territory. That's not something that Alfred here can afford.
It's really cool though that this museum is kind of an homage to fandom in some ways. Like like the King Tut costume is from a famous cosplayer who died a few years ago and donated some of his effects to the museum, I take it, and that
Right.
sort of thing is it's really great to keep the fan the fan base alive as well, so to speak, and be part of that as well as being part of the community of just the show itself.
It's been a blast as we bring people in. And once they see this room that is behind me, which is the Wayne Manor's study, um, they're instantly transported into another time. It's like they've just walked onto the set of Batman 1966. And at the moment, I don't have necessarily the attention of every single person in the room yet. But the minute I throw the Shakespeare switch and hit that, and the sliding bookcase comes open, I've got everybody's attention at that point. And
Certainly had mine.
even somebody that's not a Batman fan is totally on board. And then they're saying, this is just amazing, this is awesome, this is just fantastic. And I'll say, this is just the first room, wait till you see the rest. And they get downstairs and then they see the craziness going on down there, and it's just the icing on the cake.
Is the Wayne Library your favorite exhibit, just in terms of the kind of pop factor, or because I love the climbing exercise, or the climbing, I guess you call it kind of a pose opportunity for tourists.
Well, the Wayne Manor study becomes our actual office for the museum. So there's a comfort level from that perspective. But I love every single part of the museum. So be able to say what's my favorite part or something like that of it. But this is the room that I usually do the most work in as far as being a docent to talk about the museum. It's the first room so that I do the introduction to the museum. I get people into the swing of things, and then I go ahead and turn them loose onto the next docent from here.
Yeah, so you're sitting in your model of the Wayne study now, and I was wondering how that must have been difficult to decide, like, what's on the other side. We're always, looking at it from the same angle on the show, and so obviously you're not going to put like cameramen there. You need to have like a wall. I mean, we did see that window one time in the Chandelle episode, but otherwise, you had to come up with something for that side of it.
Right. So there you go. You get to see a little bit of it. That I did put a fourth wall, and then the wall where the window was located in that Chandelle episode is the entryway into the room.
Yeah.
But the fourth wall, that's really where the camera crew was located, as you mentioned. And what I do is I say that didn't exist on the set, but it gave me a perfect excuse to put the 4 pieces of music out, digital copies of the original handwritten music Nelson Riddle did of the Batman theme. So we can hook in people that are musically inclined, and to be able to show them that. And it's truly amazing the reactions that we've had even to that.
And when that came up in one of the videos, I was so happy to finally find out where the Nelson Riddle stuff is. He said it's at the Great American Songbook Foundation in Carmel, Indiana. I mean, I had some questions about that stuff that I now don't remember. I'm now knowing where it is. Maybe I could dig up my notes of those questions about Riddle's participation.
How did Indiana wind up being such a nexus for Batman 66?
That's isn't it wild? You think about all those connections, but it's the crossroads of America. That's what Indiana's always been called, and it truly is. And in the Batman universe, it's even more so. William Dozier lived in Indianapolis as a real estate broker, as you've probably heard in these interviews. His son, Robert Dozier, wrote the first 2 Joker episodes. He was born in Indiana. The guy that scalloped the fins of the 55 Lincoln Futura was Bob Metz from Shelbyville. The number 3 was toured by Steve Tansey out of Tipton. The number 4 car, the Dragster, was restored by Steve Donato in Gary, Indiana. You've got the number 5 car. It was built by a couple of guys out of Evansville, Indiana. And then there's the craziness of what we do. Who would have ever thought all of that was going on right here? And there are probably hundreds more that we just don't know about yet.
You say the museum was built, this building used to be an antique shop, right?
Yes.
or an antique, probably a warehouse as well. And the fish, that you've got above the bookcase there, was actually seconds from the left over from the antique shop. Is that correct? And needed
Yes,
to be repaired.
right. So the fish came with the building. The fish was a little bit too long for the space that we had over top of the bookcase. It was missing the tail, missing the lower jaw, the fins, and the eyeball. So Abby, our daughter, and also the manager of the museum, she and I did some fiberglass surgery to it. And then she took over and made the fins and the eyeball and hand painted all the little black dots on it
Right.
and did just a brilliant job. She did the taxidermy work on the snow leopard. She did the painting of the resin impala over there. And then also on the wall opposite is the Oryx Gemsbach. And she did the aging of that as well. So she's just very talented, and
I'll say.
she does just an absolutely terrific job.
So could you walk us through briefly how you replicated the library, the books themselves?
So the books was really because of my wife, Jill. She's a librarian. So she took it upon herself from a screen cap from the show. I was planning on just going out and buying some of those cardboard books and just slipping them into place and going, well, it's close. It'll work.
I think you have a detail-oriented family, it seems like.
Very much so. So I obsess about the car. I obsess about some of the other things. Jill, as a librarian, she obsessed about the books. So she did the research. I don't know how long it took. I think it was maybe about 4 or 6 weeks, somewhere in that range. And she ID'd and digitally sourced every single one of those books, 130 of them, by the way, that are in there. And it was pretty crazy. The one that really gave the trouble was the red and white book set that's back behind me here. And the red and white set is a rare Encyclopedia Americana from 1963. It's rare because it was a World Fair exclusive. And there are only 2 photos on the internet of that particular book set at that time. And she found them through a back door at the library about a book sale that had happened at some point in the history of the library. And she found them. She was just brilliant in making that happen. Then a friend of mine that was also a librarian found somebody that had a book set and had them take high-res pictures of it. And then we were able to redo the books a little bit higher res and make them look a little nicer.
Wonderful.
So the covers are like scanned, right, and then printed out, and then the inside is styrofoam, not an actual book.
Correct. Right. I played around in Photoshop, printed them out on vinyl, then wrapped them around the styrofoam blocks.
Looks so much better than just a big, photograph of a bunch of books, which is what you would get at like Olin Mills when you're getting your picture taken. You're getting your portrait photos taken.
So I mean, this might be driving you nuts too, but the bat phone beep is not quite TV accurate. Do you know how they generated that beep for the show, where it came from?
I don't, but I know some people that are audio engineers, and they know what the tone is. It's technically 2 tones that are combined together, which makes it have that particular sound. This particular is just a standard beep that comes with the phones that our particular manufacturer has. But eventually I'll be replacing that because I want to make it so that on the handset that the speaker actually works and you hear Commissioner Gordon's voice. I really want to hear it. Can you come to headquarters right away?
It's the Joker.
It's the Joker. It's the Riddler. Yes, exactly.
Fantastic. So you could have like those kids' toys from the '60s. You could have it, say like 16 different phrases every time somebody picks up the phone. That'd be beautiful.
Totally. We always have plans and ideas for the future growth of the museum, and that's one of them. So
How hands-on are the exhibits, Mark? Because, what I would want to do is I'd, of course, want to go straight for the pink cowl and, pull it down and have a close look at it. Are people allowed to touch the exhibits?
Not a lot of it, but some items. We have a replica of the bomb from the Batman movie.
Yes.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. And we have a few other props and things like that that they can pick up. You've already alluded to the back climb wall, which is a real hands-on experience for people.
Mm-hmm.
And then down with the Batmobile, they can stand right next to my first Batmobile, and I allowed them to touch that one.
Does it have healing power? Lay your hands on the Batmobile. Feel the healing.
Oh, that's great. Love it. But by making people feel young again as they look around, you see the glint in their eye. You'll even see a tear from time to time as people are transported back in time to when they were children or whatever age they were when they first came across the series. And that truly has some healing properties, I think, in that respect. Yes.
For sure. This is, not it's sort of about the museum, but it's mostly about your own history. How the heck did you make a car that was not the original model of the Batmobile look so much like the original model of the Batmobile? It was a completely different vehicle, right? It was a different make and model altogether.
Totally. Yes. So my first Batmobile was built on a 74 Monte Carlo. I chose that because a friend of mine wrecked my mom's car, which was a 74 or 73 Monte Carlo. And my brother and my friend that were in the car, it was a very bad snowstorm, and they were not wearing seatbelts and they didn't have a scratch on them.
Wow.
And I thought, well, maybe that's the safe car that we need to use.
It's a tank.
So, right. So that was the car that we cut down, a 74 Monte Carlo, and converted into our first Batmobile. Made every mistake in the world building it. I like to quote Edison's line about we learned 99 ways how not to build a Batmobile. As we taught ourselves fiberglassing and taught ourselves body work and the like, electrical and things like that we had no clue about. And we were too naive to know that we couldn't do it, so we did.
I'm looking at 74 Monte Carlos here on the internet. Man, that engine compartment is huge.
Very. Yes, which made it perfect, I thought, for the Batmobile, but I was totally wrong because the wheelbase is too short. It's 116 inch and it needs to be 126 and a half. So the rear end is too long and it drags a little bit from time to time on steep driveways, that kind of thing. But
did that car run? You could drive it? Did it work?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was a real drivable car. I drove it for half my senior year. But you were asking, how did I do the research or anything like that? Well, the TV show hadn't been on the air for about 8 years in my area. So all I had were 4 or 5 photos that were of the number 4 dragster that were in a dimly lit museum in Chicago, an 8x10 of the profile of the car and the Corgi toy. And then one thing that I had forgotten to mention in earlier interviews was the Mego Batmobile. And that's why the front nose is so flat on Batman. It's because the Mego was flat.
I see.
Why did it slope down so hard on the rear end of the car instead of being up higher where it's supposed to be was because of the Corgi. And you put all of those mistakes together with our failed memory of it, and that's how the car came to be.
Well, Mark, we when we couldn't afford Amigo Batmobile, we had a bunch of the Amigo action figures, but we didn't have any of the vehicles or anything. Well, I think we ended up with maybe one down the road, but that might have been for Spider-Man.
Yeah, we had a Spider-Mobile.
Anyway, so we decided we were going to put 2 half-gallon milk, like cardboard milk containers together, cover them with black construction paper and put bat insignias on either side. And so we didn't bother with modeling it on anything except our memories. So I think, you undoubtedly did a better job of replicating something about, even if it was replicating the Mego or the Corgi toys, we just had milk containers.
Yeah, it was modeled on the Anderson Erickson dairy. That's what it was
That's
modeled
right.
on.
Oh, that's great.
Very much.
And that reminds me of my first Batmobile way back in the day. I took a radio flyer and added a wagon and added cardboard sides to it and turned that into my first Batmobile.
Sweet.
So,
Was that when the show was still running? When it was still originally on
I think
television?
it was just a little bit later than the show.
Mhm.
I think it would have been about 1969 or 1970
Okay.
when that happened. But good times. And people have donated some of the Pine Car Derby cars to us that they had modified from a block of wood into the Batmobile. We've already received one, and we're expecting a second one here in the near future. So it's I love all of the personalization that people have done to their cars. And
Yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of a fandom museum as well as a museum of the show itself, and I think that's got to be make it even more enjoyable, I would think, because you can see the legacy as well as just the wonders of the show itself.
You bet, and it's so much fun as we open up packages and we have no idea what's coming in. We open up a giant box and like, whoa, wait a second, this is the Batcave from Entertainment, the Factory Entertainment, and realize, whoa, that's an $1,100 item, and this guy said you don't have one, you need one, so I'm going to buy it for you. And made it happen.
So I'm sorry. What was this? What was this object?
Factory Entertainment replica. It's like 1/50th scale of the Batcave, complete with lights and things that are blinking inside and in the atomic pile and the like. So
Wow.
It's really incredible. Very, very detailed. I just wish it was a larger scale from my perspective. My eyesight's not as good anymore, but it is truly beautiful. They did a great job with it.
Mark, now I know what I'm going to do with all this crap lying around in my office. I'm going to open up a museum.
Oh, right.
Museum equals storage space.
Yeah, we've got a 7,300 square foot museum, and we are running out of room. Even as big as it is, we've got I think it's 24 of those tall glass Daytop cases, and I would love to have another 24, but there's just no room to have that many.
Yeah, I got a sense of how much the collection is changing or how quickly, because I watched a video that someone had done like 10 months ago of your museum, and then one from 2 months ago, and now like things have been moved around, and now you have a King Tut, and now Mr. Freeze and Mr. Mad Hatter have heads, and other new items, and so there must be stuff coming in all the time.
Yes. And Abby is the reason for all of that. As the manager, she does such an amazing job of keeping everything fresh. And we've had people that have been in here 8 times already in a year and 9 months. 8 times to travel to the Batman Museum. And every time they come, they go, that's new, that's new, that's new.
Spectacular. Yeah.
And that's all her effort. She does such a great job.
That's great. No, one hates to go to a museum and see that it's exactly the same as it was the last time you were there.
Yeah, it's not static at all.
Great.
No. And she moves things around. She adds new statues. She puts new artwork up. She creates new artwork. And she's just an amazing dynamo.
So what other, let's say, objet de bat are you expecting in the future, or would you like to have?
What I would like to have are obviously some more screen used items. I did bid on the Penguin submarine. There were 2 of them built for the Batman movie. Apparently, one of them was had the opening torpedo doors. The other one was completely static, I guess. And I really wanted that in the screen-used box, the glass case. I thought it would have been brilliant in there. However, it went for about $26,000. I'm like, what?
Pricing you're right
It's
out.
interesting you mentioned the Penguin sub, because recently I had a listener who was asking for help trying to find the blueprints for it, which I guess somebody owns and has in a private collection, and they're just not out there.
And I had a few pictures or screen caps that somebody had done, probably John Pennyworth. John Haig is his real name, goes by A. Pennyworth. And that's why it's John Pennyworth. We could just kind of combine his name together. And he's an archivist that makes me look like I'm an amateur. And he's truly an amazing detective. So he had screen caps of one of the auctions where those were sold.
I've seen those.
And that's been the only thing that I had in my archives as well. I'd forgotten that I had them as I went digging back through. So and this guy's wanting to make an accurate model of the submarine, is my understanding.
Probably,
So he's 3D printing it, and pretty neat to see all of that coming together. So speaking of 3D printing, we were our Bat buddies that are out in LA and also out of Ohio have been helping us out with the museum too. Of course, Scott Sebring and Alex Goltz and Troy Manus and Chris Chasen and many others that are on the 66 Batman message board. So I want to give a shout out there. But they were at the Hollywood Museum, and they happened to go into the Planet of the Apes section, saw a life cast of Victor Bueno in plaster.
Ooh.
And they asked permission to cast from that a foam version of his face. And it's on loan to me here to be able to, you see it up on top of the desk over there in the back.
Yes.
So we are 3D scanning this, and then the plan is to 3D print it so that we can put it in place of our temporary King Tut head downstairs.
The one with the googly eyes?
Right.
That's great.
It was supposed to last for a week, right? So we didn't put much time or effort into it, and then unfortunately the person that was 3D printing the head for us didn't get the scale right, so it came out looking like it was a shrunken head.
Oh no. That's a different program altogether.
From Central America or something. Yes, yeah. So we're still looking for an artisan that can take that LiDAR scan and convert it into the actual 3D print we need.
Who's Who, the definitive podcast of the DC Universe.
Spanning from the first issue of Who's Who in 1985 all the way through the loose leaf edition.
Including all the updates, the spin-offs, custom Who's Who pages for forgotten characters, and tons of in-depth character spotlights.
Entries span from the golden age of DC
and into the extreme 1990s.
Covering characters such as Superman by Kurt Swan and John Byrne.
The Justice League by Kevin Maguire.
Batman by Dick Giordano.
The New Titans by Tom Grummett.
Wonder Woman by George Perez.
The Legion of Superheroes by Keith Giffen.
The Flash by Carmine Infantino.
Lobo by Simon Bisley.
The All-Star Squadron by Jerry Ordway.
Firestorm by Al Milgrom.
Aquaman by Chuck Patton.
So many entries talking about Ian Karkull.
The Forever People again, and again, and again.
And hundreds of other characters found in Who's Who, the definitive podcast of the DC Universe.
Available wherever you find podcasts and at fireandwaterpodcast.com.
Nuclear Man, Batman, Hawkman, 2D Man, and Hour Man.
Who are all these people, man?
They're all part of the DC Who's Who.
Support the Deconstructing Comics family of podcasts on our Patreon. On the latest Bat Bits, Paul and I talk about the movie Blank Man, a Damon Wayans movie from 1994. The movie heavily references Batman 66, but does it take the right tone? Last month, we discussed an early draft of the Ring of Wax Riddler arc of Batman 66. More script discussions are on the way, plus a look at the Fiberglass Freaks Batman Museum and more. Join us for these and all past Bat Bits episodes by joining our Patreon for at least $2 a month. At $4 a month, you also get our monthly show Silver Age Batman, where we're looking at many of the wacky Batman stories from the 50s. In this month's episode, coming August 22nd, Kumar and I discuss the double crimes of Two-Face from Detective Comics 187. Also at the $4 level, you can still access our past series that covered the first 50 issues of Amazing Spider-Man and more. Follow our Patreon for free and get access to the first 2 episodes of both Bat Bits and Silver Age Batman. Check it out at patreon.com/deconcomics. And thanks for your support.
Is there anything else that you want listeners to know about the museum? I don't want to preempt Tim. It sounds like I'm asking a kind of final question, but it's not necessarily final. I'm just interested.
Sure. With 7,300 square feet of Batman, that all versions of Batman are loved and appreciated. That there's a section for Michael Keaton, there's a section for Robert Pattinson and Ben Affleck and the like, Christian Bale. We rotate these sections in and out, so that way there's always. I want people to be able to go in, and even if they're not necessarily the '60s Batman only kind of fans like some people are. I want them to go, there's my Batman. There's a Lego Batman. Abby was showing us at a Texas Roadhouse. They had a standee, cardboard standee. And she said, we need something like that. And I said, really? Okay. So we made standees of Lego Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. And people can stand behind them, have their picture taken.
Oh.
And kids just adore it, but adults do too. So we put handles on them so they can pick them up, and it's just so it really covers over much more than just the show, even though it is 66 centric, and that's a very important point to get across. And then the other is the people are surprised every single time they come in here. They, even if they've watched the videos, they cannot believe how big the place is, how full it is with the items like the statues of Joker, Riddler, Penguin, and Catwoman that Greg Mario and his team did. They are just out of this world in how accurate they did it on the faces in particular. Joker and Riddler are scary real. I mean, it's scary real. You get at the right angle, you're like, oh, you're going to start talking, aren't you?
The uncanny.
Well, I had a couple of just kind of general Bat fan questions.
Sure.
Things that you said in some of the videos that I watched. So I had been convinced that the Batman serials being shown at the Playboy Mansion and the premiere of the series were just a coincidence, but you mentioned Douglas Kramer as a connection between the two.
Yeah, legend has it that Douglas Kramer, head of production for 20th Century Fox, was at the Playboy Mansion, saw everybody yucking it up there, and loved what he was seeing. And he had in mind that it would be more like a George Reeves type Superman type show, straight, that wouldn't have a comedic element to it at all. So he really didn't know what he was looking for in that. And then he hired Bill Dozier, the executive producer, as a consolation prize because he had turned him down on the Fu Manchu series.
Oh, the Charlie Chan number one son. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you for the correction there. And then he had no idea what to do with it. He had 12 comic books on his lap on the plane ride back from New York. And one of his buddies stopped by and said, yeah, I guess those scripts do get pretty dull, don't they, Bill? And he couldn't say a word about it because it was top secret.
Right.
And then they hired Lorenzo Simple Jr. He's the one that brought the camp element into it. He knew exactly what to do with it to really develop it so it would work on those two different levels for kids and adults both. And it took everybody involved. It took Kramer, it took Dozier, and it took Simple to make that all happen. And what a brilliant show they ended up producing.
And Semple kept producing work like that for the rest of his career. He did write some serious films, but then there's Flash Gordon, which may as well be Batman 66 just with Flash Gordon and no cowl.
I guess he wrote a draft for the Superman movie with Chris Reeve.
Oh, I did hear about that at one point, but I don't think Mario Puzo's version ended up surviving, the rewrites either, although he was involved in the script as well.
Right. So it's just crazy to think about how all of these things happen more or less, some of them by accident, some of them intentionally.
Yeah, it's alchemy.
And I gathered that like us, you are not a subscriber to the idea that NBC tried to have a fourth season of Batman.
Right. There's a gentleman that goes by the handle of High C on the Batman message board.
Yeah, he passed away a few years ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
he was a good friend, great friend to the Batpole show as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, the extensive research that he did in Hollywood Reporter and Variety was truly amazing, to where there was literally nothing out there about NBC even considering that. It would have been
there's no record. Yeah.
Right. And what a lot of people don't know is that they barely got the third season to begin with. And then third season was wrought with problems that ABC didn't order a full season. So the last 9 episodes, that was a pickup. And there was a 2-week hiatus while ABC was making up their mind. The writing was already on the wall by that point. They already knew that they were done. And then by Christmas of 1967, they were doing the Golden Rat Party. Even though the show hadn't been canceled yet, they knew then that it was coming. So everything was done long before March of 1968.
Right, yeah. End of 1967, they wrapped production. Yeah. But yeah, and at the University of Wyoming, in the past, we had a proxy researcher there, Oscar Lilly, who had also researched the fourth season idea and also could find nothing in Dozier's papers there to prove, it seems like, but what everybody goes on is that I guess like Burt Ward or Yvonne Craig said, like, we were told that NBC was interested, but who told them that? And why did they tell them that when it doesn't seem to have been true.
So I think Adam and Burt were both quoting Yvonne, who was quoted by Joel Eisner in the original Bat book. And I don't know for sure if it was a misheard comment or something, because Yvonne was sharp up until her passing in 15. I just can't imagine that she would make a mistake like that. So I don't really know for sure what happened there, but that seems to be the source from what everybody has been saying.
Right. We've assumed it was miscommunication. It wasn't. We never thought anyone was, outright lying about it.
Right.
But the problem is that because the stars of the show said this, then fans really want to believe it must be true. They knew they were there.
Yeah. You posted on a Batman like social media thing, and people say, "You're calling Yvonne a liar."
No, not at all.
Not at all. Then the quotation was something to the effect that the Batcave had already been destroyed and it would have cost $800,000 to rebuild it. And I say, faw, because the entire budget for the pilot was only $564,000. So the Batcave had to be a portion of.
Well, holy inflation.
Maybe granite-styled mountains in minutes. The price went through the ceiling. When the show hit the airwaves.
Well, and Oscar had said that it's pretty clear that Dozier wanted to end it, that he probably would have turned down any fourth season offer from any network because he just wanted to start making that sweet syndication money without having to spend any money on making the show.
Right.
That's right. There were several newspaper articles where ABC and Dozier were almost antagonistic towards each other, saying ABC canceled. ABC says, we haven't canceled. We haven't made a decision. And Dozier is already moving on, selling the rights for syndication, as you said. Mm-hmm. So, wow, $2 million worth was sold already within just a few weeks after the show was off the air. That was already in the works.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been said that at a certain point in the history of television, the point was syndication.
Right.
You make series hoping that you can make enough seasons of it that it will be picked up for syndication, and then you'll be making cash off it in perpetuity.
And the dirty secret about television is that the producers and the studios lose money on every single episode unless they get enough advertisers that are helping out with that. But even then, it's never the entire budget for the episode. So it was time. After 120 episodes, 100 is the magic number for syndication. And once they reach that, of course, then it's time to go into syndication and leave the rest behind. Mm-hmm. So I'm really surprised that Dozier fought so hard for the third season, considering how few episodes were produced at that point. But
well, they're probably lucky that first season and a half, it was twice a week, because that really ran up the numbers of episodes.
Ooh, great point. Great point. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mark, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with us. This has been so much fun.
Happy to. And you guys are great. And keep doing what you're doing, please. Okay?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've got it in the blood. It's kind of hard. It's a hard thing to give up, as you know. Once Batman's got you by the throat, you're never getting away.
And we still have quite a to-do list of things for episodes. So.
All right. Yeah. Well, anytime you would like to do anything here, don't hesitate. Whether it's here or whether it's at the factory, whatever you have in mind.
What you were talking about having another convention?
At some point in time, I'd like to do another BatCon. I don't know for sure if we'll do it out at the airport like what we have been, or if I try to do it at the museum, or maybe turn it into an outdoor Bat Fest. I don't know for sure. It's always tough to do things with the weather. You never know what it's going to be like here in Indiana anyway. You don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes, it'll change. Yeah. So it would be really tough to do something outdoors, but we'll see what we can do.
Do you have some outdoor space? Do you have like a grounds outside the museum where you know that would be appropriate for that kind of gathering?
Technically, the answer is no, but we do have Erie Avenue right out back, and we would be able to shut that down because, it has been done many times for different festivals and things. Mm-hmm. So about a block and a half right in that neighborhood would be available. And it would just be fantastic for a small car show of different Hollywood star cars, for instance, things of that nature.
Well, you being a duly deputized officer of the law in your vicinity, I'm sure that nobody would mind closing down the street for a Bat Fest.
I have a really good relationship with the mayor's office as well as with the street department, so you're absolutely right.
Very good. Very good.
So thank you, gentlemen, so much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
To the Batmobile.
Okay.
'Cause I'll be watching Batman starring Adam West. Adam West.